3rd, 1983. It is a day that Tamil children like me will never forget. It was my 8th grade semester end, and we were getting our report cards. I was excited to receive the report, see my friends, celebrate the day, and get prepared for our August holidays. Growing up in Sri Lanka, one of the things that was the norm is every time there was an election, the Tamil native minority was the swing vote, and whichever Sinhalese party won the election, they would go house to house and attack Tamil families. So we had grown up with the awareness that my dad's bank would put a security guard in the house, and my mother's school took us into the convent so that we children and family were safe and our home was protected. So it's not something we questioned, it's how we grew up. It was the way of life in a country where everybody was educated, and my people come from an affluent population. It was the way of life. People had accepted that's how it is going to be because of our colonial legacy. So we didn't think that that day was going to be much different, except the fishmongers at the top of our lane. We lived down 32nd Lane in Wellawatta, and our lane was the one across the street from the police station. Normally, the street by the police station or across from the police station is the safest, but not in that climate. It's a Tamil minority stronghold in Colombo. And since we were the persecuted minority, it became a very challenging situation to live where we lived, but that was home. And the fishmongers, who are from the Sinhalese population, they stopped by that morning and told my father, "Sir, please don't send the children to school. Don't go anywhere. Everybody stay safe. Bad things are going to happen. We're going to try and stop as much as possible, but we can't promise what we can do. Please stay home." And as we started looking into what was going on, there were bodies that had come for cremation to Colombo of soldiers, and the soldiers were killed by the Tamil men in the university system in Jaffna because the soldiers had raped and attacked women at the university. So it's natural for brothers to destroy men who rape their sisters, right? That is norm. That is the human reaction. But the way the government had handled it is they declared curfew, we couldn't go out, and we very quickly cascaded into a terrible day. My father, in his infant wisdom, told us all to be home, stay indoors, don't cause any trouble, don't get into trouble, but he was going to go to work. So he had left for work. It was mom and us 4 kids. And we didn't realize the severity of it until we started buildings on fire, neighbors' homes on fire, people running down the street bleeding, and cars pulled over and set on fire because minority families were in there. And as the day escalated, it got scarier and scarier. And as an 8th grade student, I had a younger brother, 1 year younger than me, a sister 2 years younger than me, and an older brother 2 years older than me. It was a challenging day. My mom was not always a healthy person. She had had all of us after the age of 40. And so as a family, the 4 children and mom had to come up with a plan. And what we did is, because my mom looked exactly like a Tamil lady with her nose ring and her puttu, we realized that if she is front and center, we're all going to get killed. So we had to hide her, protect our home, and protect the family. We arranged chairs on the back of our wall, our back property wall, and then talked to our neighbors on the other side. They also arranged chairs. So their parents, if anybody came home, they were going to push their parents over the wall to our side. And if anybody came into our home, we were going to push our mother over the wall onto the other side, so that neighbors kept an eye on each other's parents, so that the children who were physically fit could take on the situation. And one of the things we didn't realize is throwing my mother back and forth over the wall was going to completely destroy her psychologically and physically. She started crying partway through, saying, even if they don't kill me, you kids are going to kill me. So it was not a scenario we had contemplated. We were all young. And so we had to regroup. We regrouped and decided to lock her inside our bathroom where we have a tub and the shower. Left the toilet open so that it didn't look like we had closed off any place, but we left our windows and doors open and had everything open. And my neighbor lady, who was a Sinhalese Catholic and her husband was a Tamil Catholic, the lady, we all grew up together, neighborhood, intermarriage. People didn't see race in Colombo. This is a politically created situation where the uneducated folks and the military and the government were involved in a massive genocide in the capital city for perceived or real scenarios that were thought about as grievances. So as much as we children were multilingual, we were able to manage and talk and figure out how we navigate this. And two of the children were terrified and could not handle the situation. And two of us were able to, but the only way we could handle it is we had to talk and joke and laugh and keep the mood light in order for us to be in a frame of mind to deal with what was happening. This was not something that any child is used to. No child should get used to it. Everything around you burning, people around you getting, broken and burnt and smashed up with body parts severed, blood flowing everywhere, dragging people into properties, trying to see what we can do to fix, because nobody can go to the hospital. There's a curfew declared, you can't go out. And at some point, they also turned off the power. So there is no power, there is no ice, there is no refrigerator. Houses are on fire. We're taking people who ever had their homes burnt. People who had homes not burnt, we're just taking people in. Women and children were inside, men were outside. And it was truly a time to take stock of who we are as humans. In the darkest of days, at the most inhuman moments, I also had the gift of witnessing what humanity looked like. I got to see what love and compassion and grace looked like. People from both sides of that civil war were able to put humanity first. Some of our Muslim neighbors showed up with their clothes to make sure we kids got dressed up like Muslims so that we could be safe. Yes, that was a time in the world where being a Muslim was so much safer than being a Hindu Tamil. And as darkness came and as things continued to escalate, we were getting worried. We didn't know if our father was alive. We didn't know how he was going to come home. And we were also getting worried as the daylight disappeared. What if somebody comes to attack? So we went to our yard to call our yard implements. To this day, I don't know all the English words for those implements, but we had them behind the door. And what we said is if anybody tries to walk in, four of us were going to take an instrument in our hand and we're going to attack whoever comes in. Because if we were going to die, we were going to make sure we took somebody with us. That was our thinking. That is what we thought as children we could do. We didn't stop to think that if we had it in us to take a life. It was not that far we had been able to think through. We just were, in our fear, we started thinking about what can we do to protect ourselves. And lo and behold, around 8:30, 9 o'clock, a knock came on our door. And we looked at each other and gave the head nod and the signal. And we all had our implements ready to whack the person who walked in. But luckily for us, and luckily for our inner compassion, we were not able to attack whoever who walked in, and thank God. The minute we realized who walked through that door, it was our dad. The fact that we couldn't take a life that coldly, even in that situation, was a good thing. Today, looking back, Everything that happened that day and everything that followed has shaped each one of us. Every one of us, 4 children, have grown up to embrace this experience very, very differently. We look at the world differently. We react to situations differently because we have internalized that experience differently. To me, I saw people with power, position, and money be reduced to nothing. House on fire, families destroyed, mothers and daughters raped and shot in the vagina, men tortured and killed, and sons wondering what's going to happen, fathers wondering what's happened to my family. There was carnage. There was carnage at such magnitude. The world didn't care, but the community cared. People showed up for each other. And I remember it was my brother's birthday, August 3rd. And one of our neighbors felt so sad that my brother was going to have a birthday. He was going to turn 13. He was going to have a birthday without a birthday cake. And people went looking for what is open, and they were able to go into a bakery. Everything was shut down. They were able to go into a bakery and they found a loaf of bread. They brought the loaf of bread. We sang happy birthday in darkness with a candle for my brother, and everybody in there shared a loaf of bread. We probably all got 1/4 of a slice of bread. I will never forget that birthday. That birthday was not about what we didn't have. That birthday was about everything we had because we had each other. Strangers were there for strangers. Our humanity trumped the hate around us. The kindness and grace of people trumped the carnage around us. And I will never forget Mr. Mayadurna and some of the other gentlemen who worked in the bank with my father came, made sure we were safe. Our Muslim neighbors brought us more clothes, and they took us to the train station and put us on a train to go to Batticaloa, where we could go. We couldn't go to Jaffna, the native place of my parents, because if we went there, my brothers would be branded terrorists. So we had to be careful the boys didn't have their future ruined because we went to the birthplace of my people. So we had to go to the East Coast. And we arrived as refugees. We were able to go to school as refugees. But what I saw there is while I was among my people, the East Coast didn't recognize me as a Tamil from the capital city as Tamil enough. They were surprised I spoke Tamil well. They were in fact upset I was good in education, that I was smarter than the average bear. And all the anger and the animosity, it was palpable. So here I am, chased from my city, Colombo, because of my race. And I am with my people in the East Coast. And I am being treated like I'm less than. And I am being punished for being not Tamil enough. This is another layer of experience I realized is all part of our human fabric. It doesn't matter where we come from. It doesn't matter who we are, what language we speak, how we worship. When we have fear and when we have anger, they turn into hate. And the object of our hate becomes dehumanized. So as we think of our 40th anniversary, to me, the 40th year of my realization of how cruel, ugly, and stark humanity can be, I also realize I'm grateful the kindness, empathy, grace, and the goodness of humanity. I have seen hate from my own people. I have seen grace from people on the other side of the war. So this is not about race. This is not about religion. This is, to me, a reminder that there is one race, one race only, the human race. And the human race has two choices. Individually, every human gets to choose. Am I going to embrace my humanity and embody everything that makes me human? Because I am a soul having a physical experience in this world. And is my soul an embodiment of love, light, grace, and empathy? And can I accept and take perspective and live harmoniously? Or am I just a body, a bag of bones wrapped in skin, devoid of soul, devoid of compassion, devoid of all the goodness from my maker? Because I am a reflection of hate and anger and death and destruction and dehumanization. Those are our choices. We are each human, but how we show up and our ability to show up with humanity or not, that is the question. And that is the reminder for me. And that is the great divider. As I take a step into my 41st year, fully embracing the reality around me and knowing that I too have a choice. I too get to become a better version of what I was intended to be, or dive deep into the darkest depth and become a mere bag of bones wrapped in skin.